Hey gang, Jane here, and I'm back today with another crochet granny square tutorial. Today we're making a beginner friendly square that I call the Zippy square. I've had a few of you request a nice and slow tutorial of a simple square that you could work right along with me from start to finish, all repeats included. So if you're new to crochet or just picking it back up, this is a good one to get you started. There are so many awesome granny square patterns out there, so I try to get a little more inventive and sometimes silly with my square names these days. I named this one Zippy for its speedy construction, as well as the feeling of zippity-doo-dah when they work up so quickly and my scrap basket gets smaller. This is a great square for me to make when I'm in between projects to use up all my scraps and just let the colors speak to me. It doesn't take much yarn at all. In fact, one square uses in total approximately 5 grams of yarn. Great for portable projects too. It's also a great square for new crocheters who want to explore the different basic stitches. We use a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, and a treble crochet in there. And we also use chain stitches. The finished square measures 4 inches by 4 inches. It's 5 rounds total, and I'll be making it in 3 colors today: a green, a white, and a purple. I'll be using worsted weight yarn and a 5.5mm crochet hook. Other tools you'll need are a pair of scissors and a darning needle to work in your ends. You can find more information and the free pattern for the Zippy square over on my blog. I'll leave the link in the description below. So gather your supplies and your favorite colors, and let's get making the Zippy square. So we're going to start with our green yarn and we're going to do a magic ring. So we take the yarn and we lay it over the palm of our hand, opposite hand to the one with the hook, with the cut end facing you. You're going to hold it in place with your thumb, and then you're going to wrap it around your first 2 fingers. Pulling it back underneath and holding it in place with your thumb again, you are crossing it over the yarn that's already there. Then you're going to come back up and wrap it around 3 fingers so it's on this side of the first wrap. Then you're going to hold it in place with your baby finger. So everything is being held in place. Then you're going to take your hook and you're going to go under the first one, over the second one, pulling it underneath. So now you're going to rotate your hook so that you can twist it onto the hook. You're rotating your hook clockwise, so the hook end goes to the top, and now it's twisted on that hook. Then I want to go ahead and do my first chain to lock it in place. So we go under the yarn that goes over the 3rd finger, pull it through your loop, so pull down on this hand and up on the hook to create that space, and pull it through, and that's your chain 1. Slide your fingers out, and there is your magic ring. This is the ring that we'll be working our round 1 into. So starting in round 1, we want to chain 3. The chain 3 is going to represent our half double crochet and a chain 1 space, because your entire round 1 will be half double crochets and chain 1. So go ahead and finish a chain 3. So this counts as your first chain. Now we go chain 2 and chain 3. So now you have 3 chain to start with, and again that's your half double crochet and chain 1. That's what it represents, and it counts as that. So now we want to do half double crochets into this. So we do a yarn over the hook, insert the hook into this nice big loop, yarn over again and pull up a loop, and now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That's your half double crochet. Then you chain 1. This is what we're going to work into this loop. We're going to have 12 half double crochets and 12 chain 1s all together. So the loop feels kind of floppy, so you're just kind of working with it, making sure that it stays. Keep this cut end over here. And we'll go ahead and continue to work our round 1. So yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up, 3 loops on the hook, and we complete our half double crochet, pulling it through all 3 loops. Then we chain 1, and again yarn over, insert your hook into the big loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and a chain 1. And again, we're going to want 12 of these. So we count this first chain as our first half double crochet chain 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 so far. So let's continue on, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little better. So again, we're going to go yarn over, insert into our loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and pull through all 3. And then we're going to do a chain 1. So that gives you a close-up of what we're doing. So keep on working like that, and you can watch me do this, and we're aiming for 12. As you add more of these into your loop is going to start to use up the end of this yarn. You don't want to lose that end. Sometimes if we didn't leave enough of an end, we'll need to pull it up just a little. And if you feel that it's starting to disappear, we'll do that now. So take your finger and your thumb and place it at the base of your last stitch, and then give a little tug on that cut end. See how it's pulling the loop up just a little bit, and you have a little more end to work with. Don't pull it up tight yet. We need to still work into it. So let's work some more. Half double crochets, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1. Let's do another one and then we'll count. And a chain 1. Also make sure that you have enough yarn over here loose, because that will affect your tension if you're pulling too tight on the yarn. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 2 more. So yarn over and a half double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more half double crochet and a chain 1. This will feel kind of floppy. Make sure you have that end still. And we've completed our first round. So the next thing I want to do before I join is cinch this up so that I can get to that join. So holding my finger and my thumb on my hook hand on the base of that stitch, we are going to pull on the cut end. So push that working yarn away and you're going to pull on the cut end. And see how it's cinching it up? And then you can readjust, place your thumb and finger again, pull a little more. You don't need to pull it all the way up. You can do that right before you darn it in, but as long as we have it fairly closed up there. So now we're ready to join. We take the working yarn again, dropping that cut end at the back for later. And now we want to join. We ended with a chain 1, and we want to join in the second chain of that beginning chain 3, because that represents the top of our half double crochet. So count up 1, 2, insert your hook, yarn over, pull a loop through and through the loop on the hook, and you've now done a slip stitch join. At this point, we can cut the yarn because we'll be using a different color on round 2. I cut my yarn about 4 to 5 inches because I want enough to darn in, and I rather go longer than shorter. I want it to be secure. Now go ahead and pull that yarn all the way through. Kind of creates a little bit of a knot where your slip stitch is, and we're finished round 1. At any point in time, you can continue to cinch this up. Doesn't matter at this point. If you want to give it a little tug, just make sure you always hold it and stabilize it with your thumb and your finger. So let's move on to round 2. Now in round 2, I want to use my off-white. So we're going to join our off-white in any one of the chain 1 spaces that we created. So we will not be working in a direct stitch. We're only going to be working in the chain 1 spaces. So find one that you want to join, and I usually go a little further away from where I finished so that when I darn all my ends in, they're not all in one place. So I'm going to go up here and you'll go into a chain 1 space. Make sure that it's a chain 1 space that you're going into and not a stitch. And you're going to leave a nice end on your white and you're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to go ahead and chain 1. And now we want to single crochet in the same stitch that we just joined in. So insert your hook, wrap your yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops on the hook. That's your single crochet. And then we're going to chain 1. This is what we're going to do all the way around round number 2. So we're going to go into the next chain 1 space, skipping over this half double crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. That's a single crochet, and then a chain 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start working that all the way around, and you can work with me. Into the next chain space, work a single crochet, and then a chain 1. Skipping over this next half double crochet and go into the chain space, pull up a loop, complete your single crochet, and chain 1. Moving along into the next chain space, single crochet, chain 1. We're going to continue this around, and what you're going to end up with is 12 single crochet and 12 chain 1. And again, keep this yarn loose at the side so that your tension stays nice and even. If this yarn, the working yarn, pulls, you may find your stitches get tight. And then when you look at your final work, you'll wonder why certain areas seem tighter and certain areas seem looser. That comes with time, but always make sure that you have lots of give on your working yarn. So we're going to continue to work around, always making sure we work a chain 1 in between each of our stitches. And here I'm back to where I joined for the green. Just hold that to the back and continue along. We're almost there. Chain 1. Don't forget that chain 1. We need that for the space because our circle will increase as we add rounds to it. And we end with a chain 1 and we're back to where we started. So let's count our stitches to make sure that's where we should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And there's 12 chain 1 spaces as well. And we're ready to join our round. We want to join in the first single crochet of the round. So putting our hook under both of the loops of that stitch, wrap the yarn over, pull a loop through, and pull it through the loop on the hook as well. So you kind of use your fingers to help maneuver that yarn to go where you want to. And that's round number 2. So what we want to do is, because we're going to join another color for round 3, we're going to cut our yarn about 4 to 5 inches. Then we're going to go ahead and pull the yarn through, creates a little bit of a knot there where we slip stitched, and we've completed 2 rounds of our square. And again, you'll see this is open. Again, you can close it when you go to darn that end in, or you can leave it open for a lacy effect. So you can see here I cinched it in just a little bit more, but it really won't stay like that until I darn these ends in. I do like working my ends in as I go, but for this square, I'm not going to focus on that. We're just going to focus on the stitches. I have other tutorials that specifically cover working your ends in as you go. So we're going to join purple for round number 3. So take my purple yarn and we're going to join in any one of these chain 1 spaces. Any one you want. I again move a little bit further over from where I finished off. So I'm going to join it in here, insert your hook into a chain 1 space, leave a nice end to darn in later, and pull up a loop. Then we're going to chain 1. Now we've joined our yarn, we want to work a single crochet into that same space. So insert the hook again, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through both. That's your single crochet. And then we're going to chain 2 this time. Now working the same as before, only working into the chain 1 spaces, we're going to work a single crochet into the next chain 1 space and then chain 2. So we're skipping over the single crochet stitches and only working into the chain 1 spaces. So again, into the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 2. And we're going to keep working around our piece in exactly that way. Single crochet in a chain 1 space and chain 2. And again, you're going to have 12 single crochets and 12 chain 2 spaces when we get to the end of this round. Keeping the yarn that I'm working with loose and flowing so that my tension stays even. And here's where I join, so we just hold that to the back and we keep working around. And we're almost there. Single crochet in this last chain 1 space, chain 2, and we worked all the way around. We have 12 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and 12 chain 2 spaces. So now we want to join our round. We're going to go into the first single crochet stitch under both loops, wrap the yarn over, pull it through there, holding on with my thumb and finger. We're going to continue to pull it through the loop on the hook. And now we've done a slip stitch join, but we are not cutting the yarn because we're going to continue with purple to the end of the square. So you can see in the finished square, we are now going to be squaring off our circle. This is the second last round, and it is probably the most complicated round of the square. So I'll walk you through this one step at a time. Because we're going to continue with the purple, I don't need to join it again, but I want to get it in the right space. And the right space is going to be this next chain space. So the way that I do that is I take my hook, I insert it into that chain space, wrap my yarn around, pull up a loop, and pull it through the loop on the hook. So what I've done there is I've just slip stitched into the next chain space, and this is where I can start this round. So the round starts with a corner, and the corner has a double crochet, chain 1, treble, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same space. So to start with, I'm going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my purple's getting a little tight, so I'm going to pull out some yarn. Okay, now I have nice loose yarn. So this chain 4, the first 3 chain represent your first double crochet, and the 4th chain represents your chain 1 space. So that is the first stitch of the corner. Then we're going to do a treble stitch. Treble stitch requires you to wrap the yarn twice around your hook. So see, before I even go into the space, I have 3 loops on there, 2 wraps and a loop. Take your hook and insert it into the space that we just joined in and wrap your yarn around and pull it up. Now you're going to have 4 loops on the hook and you're working into that same space that we slip stitched into. And we're going to do 2 at a time. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a treble right there. Then we do a chain 1. This is the center stitch of your corner. And now we want to work a double crochet into that same space. So still working in that same space that we slip stitched into. Yarn around, insert into that space, yarn over, pull it up, 3 loops on the hook, and we're going to go yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And there you have your first corner. We have the chain 4, which represents a double crochet chain 1. We have a treble, a chain 1, and a double. Then we do a chain 1, and we're going to start to work across our top edge. So the first stitch we're going to do is a half double crochet into the next chain space. You're only working into the chain spaces. So wrap your yarn around, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. That's your half double crochet, chain 1, and let's do it again. Yarn around your hook or yarn over, insert into the next chain space, yarn over, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and a chain 1. That's the 2 stitches that go across the top edge, and we're back to the next corner. So the next corner will be worked the same way, except you don't start with the chains, you start with a double crochet. So yarn over, insert into the next chain space, yarn over, pull up 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Then we do a chain 1, and now we want to work a treble. So twice around your hook, insert into the same space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's your treble. Chain 1, and now work a double into that same space. Yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and chain 1. So now let's take a look at this. We have our first corner, our top edge, and our second corner, and we've turned the corner, and we're going to work across our next edge. Again, we're working only into the chain spaces and a half double crochet. So we have 3 loops pulling through all 3, chain 1, and we do another half double crochet in the next chain space, and a chain 1, and we're back to the next corner. So see how we've worked up this edge, across the top. Now we do another corner, which is a double crochet into the next chain space, chain 1. Now we're going to work a treble into that same space. See how you have 4 on the hook? Yarn over 2 at a time until you get to the last 2 and you've completed that stitch. Chain 1, and now a double crochet in the same space. So 3 stitches into that space, and then a chain 1, and we've worked another corner. So at this point, we've worked half our way around the round. We still want to work across here, another corner, and down. So let's do that. Yarn over into the next chain 1 space, half double crochet, chain 1, and then a half double crochet into the next space, and a chain 1. I'm going to take a break because my yarn wants to knot. Bear with me while I do some detangling. All right, all detangled and ready to go. So we are at the top edge and we've reached another corner. This will be the last corner before we get back to where we started. So we want to do a double crochet into this space, and then you want to work a chain 1, and you want to work a treble into that same space, and then a chain 1, and then a double into the same space that we just worked in, and a chain 1. So now we just have to finish this last edge and get back to where we started. So we want to do a half double crochet in this chain space, chain 1, and a half double crochet in this chain space, and a chain 1. And now we want to join around. So we want to join in the 3rd chain of that beginning 4 chain, because we want to join in what would be considered the top of the double crochet that it represents. So count up 3, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull a loop through and through the loop on the hook. That joins your yarn, and you've completed the squaring round, and this was the most complicated round. So we have one more round to go. So we are now doing our last round, and that would be round number 5. And again, we're going to use purple. So in order to not cut and have to rejoin, I want to work in this chain space here. We're going to do the same thing as we did before, inserting our hook into that chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull it through the loop on the hook. We've now slip stitched into the chain space where we can start. So we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and then work a single crochet in that same space and then a chain 1. Now we've reached the center stitch of our corner, which is the treble. This is the only time you're going to be working into an actual stitch as opposed to the chain spaces. Each corner you're going to work into the treble stitch to turn the corner. So what I want to do here is work into the top of that treble stitch going under both loops of the stitch. You're going to work a single crochet, a chain 2, and another single crochet into that same stitch. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the top of the treble. Then we're going to chain 1 and continue across the top of our square. So back to working only in the chain spaces, work a single crochet and a chain 1. And then next chain space, single crochet, chain 1. And we're going to keep doing that in each of the chain spaces across, always putting a chain 1 in between the stitches until you get to the opposite corner. So we'll count our stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochet stitches after the corner. And we end with a chain 1 and we're back to the treble in the next corner. And we're going to work a single crochet into that treble stitch, chain 2, and a single crochet. And we've turned our next corner. So what this round does is just gives a nice crisp edge to the squaring round that we did before. So making sure your yarn is nice and loose again. It likes to do this. It likes to do that. And it just gets itself into little tangles that you have to make sure aren't pulling on your yarn. So we worked our corner into the treble, and now we chain 1 and continue across in the chain spaces, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, only into the chain spaces, all the way across until you reach the next corner. And you want to do right until you reach that treble. So there's the treble stitch. You want to go into that treble stitch, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. And there's your corner. So now again we've done half the square, and now we're going to work our way across here and down here, so you can work with me. Chain 1, into the next chain space we work a single crochet, chain 1, then we work a single crochet, chain 1, and keep on working like that. Chain 1 until we reach the next treble stitch. Almost there. And here we are, back to the treble stitch. So we want to work in the top of that treble, single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Oops. And now all we have left to do is work across the top of our square. So we're going to chain 1, work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, keep on working our way across, only in the chain spaces along the edges, and always a chain 1 in between. So here's my last chain space before where I actually worked and joined the yarn, started the round I should say. So you want to work that single crochet and a chain 1. And see, we're back here. You're not right to the corner because we actually started in the chain space before the corner. So what you want to do is slip stitch in that single crochet, that first single crochet. If you ever have trouble finding your first single crochet, sometimes what I suggest to people is to take a stitch marker of some kind, or it can be a paper clip, any kind of little stitch marker, and put it in that first stitch when you make it. Then when you go all the way around, you'll come back to that stitch marker and you'll know that's the first stitch. That helps if you have trouble finding that first stitch, which takes some getting used to when you're first learning to crochet. So let's go ahead and we're in the stitch. Kind of stopped halfway there. So I'm in the stitch and I'm going to slip stitch. So yarn over, pulling it through that first single crochet and the one on the hook. I've now slip stitched in my first stitch and I've completed my square. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn 4 to 5 inches again. Pull your yarn through, and there you are. You've completed the zippy square. I hope you enjoyed making this little guy, and I hope it has you feeling more confident in your crochet skills and that you're inspired to make a whole batch of these squares. I do love making throws out of all my squares, so for this one, I thought I would give the join as you go method a try. No sewing, just crocheting them together. I loved it, and I added my own twist to it by using my lacy join stitch. I will have a tutorial using this version of the join as you go to join these squares, so check the link to that in the description below. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my channel so you're sure to catch all my tutorials as they come out. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you in the next tutorial.